one, gonna go!
Coming up, we'll recap the last Padres game, preview today's starting pitching matchup, give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today, the Padres take on the Milwaukee Brewers in the first game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Brewers, right-hander Logan Henderson, and for the Padres, making his Petco Park debut in the brown and gold, right-hander Casey Mize. Hi again, everybody. Sam Levitt with you from inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we as always have a lot to do. You'll hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen. You'll hear from tonight's starting pitcher Casey Mize. You'll hear from rehabbing starter Joe Musgrove, who continues to take some very good steps towards the Padres rotation. And you'll hear from tonight's left fielder Luis Rengifo. Plus, we check in with Jesse Agler in just a few minutes. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres enter today 62-57. They enter the day just 1 game behind the Phillies and D-backs for a wild card spot in the National League. Padres continue to play good baseball. They've won 12 of their last 16 games. Brewers, meanwhile, begin a 7-game West Coast road trip today. Brewers come in the best record in all of baseball at 74-44, on pace for more than 100 wins this season. Milwaukee 15-7 since the All-Star break. Well, we had the rubber game of this 3-game series, of a 3-game series, the last 3-game series last night here at Petco Park. The Padres against the Houston Astros. Let's quickly rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Padres were trailing 2-0 in the second. Jackson Merrill got San Diego on the board.
And Merrill swings, hits it in the air, high and deep to right center field. Trammell back into the gap at the wall. Gonna go! How about another? Jackson Merrill with number 18 to the big part of the yard in right center. He goes deep for a second consecutive game, and it's 2-1.
It was still a 2-1 game going to the 4th inning. Luis Rengifo hit a leadoff single. Freddie Fermin just reached first base safely on an infield single. That 2-out infield single proved to be huge because Fernando Tatis Jr. was next.
And Tatis hits it in the air, deep to left field, way back. This one, gonna go! Second balcony Western Metal. A 3-run homer for Fernando. And the Padres have hopped on top here in the 4th.
Randy Vasquez went 5 innings. He allowed just the early home run. Kyle Hart tossed the 1-2-3 top of the 6th inning. In the bottom half of the 6th, Gavin Sheets led off.
0-1, and Sheets swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. Trammell is back. Guess what? This one, gonna go! For the first time since June, Gavin Sheets has left the building. His 15th of the year, the Padres' 3rd of the day, and it's 5-2.
Gavin Sheets' first extra base hit in more than a month. Padres led 5-2 going to the 7th inning. Bradley Rodriguez came on. He pitched 2 scoreless innings, 19 in a row set down by Padres pitching through at the end of the top of the 8th inning. Bottom half of the 8th, it was Austin Hayes who made quite the introduction.
Going runs, pitch in the air, deep to left field. Wade is back. This one, gonna go! Welcome to San Diego, Austin Hayes. The 4th pitch that he sees in a Padre uniform is Western Metal. And the Pods get their 4th homer of the night. A 2-run shot at 7-2.
Jeremiah Estrada took the mound in the 9th inning. He put together a 1-2-3 frame. Padres pitching setting down 22 in a row to end the game. And the Padres win the rubber game of the 3-game series against Houston by a final score of 7-2. 4 home runs in that game, 1 for Merrill, 1 for Tatis, 1 for Sheets, and 1 for Austin Hayes in his very first at-bat. as a San Diego Padre. As we get ready for this series opener against the Brew Crew, let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Jesse, let's start with a look at the Milwaukee Brewers, a team that comes in the best record in baseball, 74-44. Just seems like every year the Brewers find a way to be a really, really good team. They're doing it again here in 2026. As we get ready for this one, what stands out about what the Brewers have done this year and how they're getting it done?
Same way they always get it done, or at least the last few years. It's so funny because I have a distinct memory of a conversation Tony and I had during a spring training game against the Brewers where, we were looking at Fangraphs or one of the sites, and the projected win total for the Brewers was not only less than it was of the Cubs, but it was behind the Pirates. And Tony and I were looking at each other with great incredulity, and we had a whole conversation about there is absolutely no way that the Pirates are going to win more games than the Brewers this year in that National League Central. And then we'd said there's probably no way that the Cubs are going to win more games than the Brewers. I don't care what the numbers tell you or what, the projections say that they should do. The reality is these guys know how to play baseball. They know how to win baseball games. And odds are when the dust settles in the National League Central, they are once again going to be on top. And here we are, 30 games over 500, best record in the major leagues. And it's all of that. They know how to play baseball. They do all the little things right. If you grew up anytime prior to the last, 15, 20 years, they're a team you love to watch play because, they run the bases with abandon. They do all the little things right. They play great defense. They pitch. They steal. It's kind of a joy to watch them play. They create havoc. They put pressure on the other team. And they do all of those things that so many teams have not done in the last decade or so. And that's just kind of the way they go about their business. And they're doing it once again here in 2026.
Yeah, and the Padres will miss Jacob Mizorowski. That's fortunate for them, but still going to face Henderson tonight, Harrison tomorrow, May, who they acquired at the deadline on Wednesday. So still some very good starting pitchers coming at the Padres in this series. Speaking of starting pitching, Casey Mize will make his second start for the Padres here tonight, his debut at Petco Park in the brown and gold. Jesse, no secret, the first outing in a Padre uniform did not go particularly well. Probably the worst outing of Casey Mize's career, certainly by the runs given up. It was the worst outing of his career, but I feel like we will see much better from Casey Mize moving forward because I think history would tell us he's a lot better than what he showed in Arizona.
Yeah, I think all of us kind of understood, even as it was starting to unravel the other night in Phoenix, what was going on a little bit there. And, even out of the chute, it was kind of a little wobbly for him. And then it just kind of, broke apart in the fourth inning, I guess. And he wasn't able to finish that inning. And I think immediately you kind of just got a sense of, all right, this kind of is what it is. You sort of knew how it could go down the way it did. And you knew, all right, it's a one-off. These things happen after trades. We'd kind of seen it with a couple of other guys who had been traded already this year. I don't think any alarm bells went off anywhere in Padre land because of that. Very similar to Robbie Ray the other day. It's asking a lot of a guy to just kind of pick up where he left off after a trade. I know that's sort of how, we fantasy baseball people kind of put it in our minds, right? Oh, yeah, you acquire a guy and he just kind of continues on. But these are human beings, and they go out and they move across the country. They got to pick it up. They got to pack a suitcase. They got to send their family here or there and make all those kinds of decisions. Now they're pitching off schedule. All those things, working with a catcher they've, maybe never met before. All of that put together does not exactly set you up for success. And that's before you even get to the fact that so many of these starters are creatures of habit and of routine. And so you're really, putting them not in a position to be successful. Sometimes it does work out despite all of that, but so often it does not. And so today for Casey Mize, a little bit more of a normal routine between that start and this start, and we'll see how it looks.
And then finally, Jesse, just taking a look at the other side of the pitching matchup, right-hander Logan Henderson. Numbers are good, 2.70 ERA in the season. What can you tell us about Henderson, what he brings into this one?
Yeah, man, just a guy who knows how to pitch, right? It's only his 16th major league start. They have won 13 of the first 15 going back to last year. And kind of neat because, he's not a blazer, right? We talk so much about Mizorowski and 104, 105. This guy throws 93, got a really good cutter, got a really good changeup and a breaking ball. Just kind of knows what he's doing out there. Not a high draft pick, a fourth round out of a junior college, and just goes out to the mound, it seems. I haven't seen him in person yet, but it seems like, when he's out there, he just kind of has an idea of what he's supposed to do, and he executes it. And that's another kind of throwback thing, isn't it? So kind of looking forward to seeing him do it. I mean, he got through the Pirates in his last start, 6 innings on 83 pitches. We don't say that very often these days, and that probably gives you a little bit of an idea of how he's able to get it done. So, it'll be our first look at him. He's been up and down from the minors 3 times this year, but a guy that very early on here in his major league career very much seems to know what he's doing on the mound.
Yeah, and a
ton
guy
of strikeouts
who,
too, by the way. Ton of strikeouts.
Yeah, he's talented. A lot of really good pitchers on this Brewers ball club, and so hopefully the Padres can hit him during this series. Padres, as we know, playing good baseball right now, too. Jesse, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Tony coming up at 6:30 for this series opener against the Brew Crew. Thanks so much.
You got it, Tim.
All right, that is Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Yeah, Logan Henderson has struck out 82 in 50 major league innings this season. So he has been very, very effective as far as the strikeout department. ERA is 2.70 coming in. So tough test for the Padres here tonight, facing a guy they have not seen in right-hander Logan Henderson. When we come back, we'll hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen. A little bit later, we hear from Casey Mize, tonight's starting pitcher. We hear from Joe Musgrove, who made another rehab start for AAA El Paso yesterday. And we'll hear from tonight's left fielder, Luis Rengifo. Plus, we take a look at tonight's Padres lineup for the very first time. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Padres baseball coming up here in downtown San Diego. Game one of this three-game series between the Padres and the Milwaukee Brewers. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Let's take a look at the Padres lineup here today. Looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. Jake Cronenworth at second base, batting second. Manny Machado at third base, batting third. Cy France, the first baseman, batting cleanup. Jackson Merrill, who's red hot, back in the 5 spot, playing center. Luis Rengifo in left field, batting 6th. Gavin Sheets, the DH, batting 7th. Freddie Fermin doing the catching, batting 8th. And Sung Moon Song at shortstop tonight in batting 9th with right-hander Casey Mize making his second start as a Padre, his Petco Park debut as a San Diego Padre. Was a pretty rough start for Mize. His first start as a Padre after the trade from Detroit. He went just 3 1/3 innings in Arizona last Wednesday, gave up 8 runs on 9 hits and a career high in earned runs for Casey Mize. So hopefully things go much, much better here today. I would anticipate he'll be a lot better here today, back in his routine. And we'll hear from Casey Mize coming up a little bit later during our pregame coverage. Right now, let's go downstairs and hear from the Padre manager.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
I know you were talking about it last night, but Austin Hayes, how exciting is it to see a young man show up to the clubhouse the way he did and be able to do what he did and really introduce himself to the ball club and to the Padre fans?
Yeah, that's a nice way to introduce yourself. Make your presence known right away. But, we signed him for a reason, or hoping that, maybe not in the first game, but, get some moments like that from him and hopefully a few more to come forward.
Yeah. How calming can that be for a new player to show up and be able to make a contribution like that right away?
Yeah, it's a lot easier, doing something like that and feeling like you're a part of the team and you're helping a team win a game. It's nice that happens in the first day. It's really easy to get him acclimated to the clubhouse that way.
Luis Rengifo has sort of done the same thing since joining you from the Brewers. I mean, did you get a chance to see him much with the Brewers? What do you think has been the difference for him coming over here and being able to perform and contribute the way he has here in a Padre uniform?
Yeah, when we played them in May, he did the same thing he's doing for us in that series. So that's all we really knew. That's probably why we signed him. But he's done a great job for us, being a little spark plug, igniter, getting some key base hits to get guys on base, and then, being able to be driven in by the other guys.
You've had some experience playing against teams that you had been with previously. Might there be something extra for him today to go against his old ball club?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Anytime another team decides that they have other players that are better than you, it's always nice to play against them and try to prove them wrong.
Casey Mize going today, obviously made the transition. He had 11 days off. There are a lot of things going on. How much are you looking forward to seeing him go now, especially since he's had a little bit more of a routine under his belt?
Yeah, more of a routine. That doesn't mean it's going to lead to immediate success, but it puts him in a better situation or better opportunity to have success. So looking forward to his first start here at home, pitching in Petco Park, and I know he'll be fine.
What's the big, I don't say battle, but like these guys on the other side, they walk. They don't strike out much. Maybe not hit for a lot of power, but they do put the ball in play and hit a lot of doubles. I mean, it's kind of a unique approach for them, and they can put a lot of pressure on a pitching staff. What's the best way to control that? Obviously, making your pitches and working your head, but anything else?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is throwing strike one, and it's a simple thing. You can say that about every team you face, but these guys specifically, they do a really good job of controlling the zone, similar to a few teams we faced. So we've really got to be really good at throwing strike one and then working our way from there.
What do you think of Musgrove's start yesterday?
I thought it was really good. He looked normal Joe, working his way back, getting his feels for all his pitches and stuff, but came out of it healthy, feeling good, and that's number one.
You said probably one more start in AAA potentially. Just your thoughts on him coming back and maybe a timetable for that.
Yeah, we'll decide how he plays catch today and then decide what he's going to do tomorrow.
Any update on Nick with regards to his timeline?
Nick threw a bullpen today. We'll find out how he feels afterwards and then decide what to do after that.
Go ahead. Earlier in the year, a guy would get hot, he'd move up to lead off, move up to the 2-hole. Can you speak to leaving Jackson in the 5-hole the way you have during this stretch?
Yeah, I think, we didn't really know what our optimal lineup was at that time, and it was a lot of experimentation on my end and their end also. And I think once we kind of got the pieces in place a little bit, started seeing where they hit the best, it's a little easier to leave them where they're at. And hopefully that was the design from the beginning, is to find a consistent lineup. And now I think we've He's pretty much found one.
What do you like about Jackson right there?
I like that he's hitting and he feels comfortable there. Yeah.
As you're getting to know Casey, what have you seen from him since that first start? Just how he's kind of shaking that off in the form.
Yeah, he's a very routine-oriented person. Yesterday I asked him, I said, how was it getting back in your routine? He said, yeah, it was great, minute by minute. So he's a very meticulous, organized person and likes having his ducks in a row to be able to have success.
How do you view a series like this? Obviously, top record in baseball, them coming in, you figure they'll be around in October, and obviously you guys have kind of your playoff, pursuit hanging over all that as well.
Yeah, I think it's 3 more games in the season against a really good opponent. It's big league baseball. We've got to play our best. They're going to play, they've been playing their best for a big part of this season, and, we'll see where we're at after 3 games.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Craig on our post-game coverage coming up later on this evening. You heard a little update there on Joe Musgrove. Joe spoke inside the Padres clubhouse earlier. We'll hear from Joe in just a little bit. All the news continues to be really good, I think, on Joe Musgrove as he continues his rehab process. Made the start for AAA El Paso in Reno yesterday. Again, we'll hear from Joe coming up in just a little bit. First pitch coming your way at 6:40. Series opener against Milwaukee. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
Well, beginning the hot category today, Jackson Merrill certainly hitting .378 with 8 home runs, 21 RBIs in his last 21 games. Merrill has an 1127 OPS since July 19th. That is the highest OPS in the major leagues in that span. Merrill also one of 4 major leaguers with at least 18 home runs and 18 stolen bases this season. Jackson continues to swing a red-hot bat. He's in the hot category certainly today. Fernando Tatis Jr. there with him. Fernando slugging .602 with 13 extra base hits, 19 runs scored in the last 21 games, 6 home runs in that span. Freddie Fermin had 2 hits last night. How about this? Freddie is batting .451 in 37 at-bats since returning from the IL. In the not category, we put Manny in there today. Manny Machado, 3 for his last 16. All those hits have been singles. Manny batting just .182 in his last 12 games. And that is a look at who's hot, who's not as we get ready for this series opener. Now let's take a look at some major league headlines as we go around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Well, at the trade deadline, the Red Sox made a big trade for Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman. He was on the IL at the time of the trade. He is expected to come off the IL tomorrow and make his Red Sox debut. Had been on the IL with left wrist inflammation. Rangers right-hander Nathan Eovaldi was placed on the IL earlier today because of inflammation in his right pitching elbow. Giants third baseman Matt Chapman will undergo season-ending surgery tomorrow for an abdominal strain, so he's out for the rest of 2026. Shortstop Tim Anderson, a 2-time All-Star and former batting champion with the White Sox, announced earlier today that he is retiring after 10 major league seasons. So Tim Anderson, at 33 years old, last appeared in a game for the Angels in May of 2025. He is retiring from baseball. And finally, some big news here. Reds ace Hunter Green, after getting a second opinion, will have season-ending elbow surgery for a partially torn UCL in his right elbow. The 27-year-old was placed on the IL last week after experiencing soreness during a side session. Saw a doctor, had an MRI on Wednesday before visiting a specialist in LA. And look, that's the kind of thing that could impact certainly his 2027 season as well. So something to watch there. Hunter Green out for the rest of the year for Cincinnati. Big blow to the Reds rotation, certainly. And that's a look at some of the major league headlines today. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in a little bit. When we come back, we hear from Joe Musgrove, we'll hear from Luis Rengifo, plus we'll hear from today's starting pitcher, Casey Mize. Much, much more to do on our pregame coverage. This is the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming your way at 6:40. EcoWater SoCal keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. That's 760-350-3338. Let's give you the latest on Mr. Joe Musgrove.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at BadaFulkerson.com.
Well, Joe made another rehab start yesterday for AAA El Paso in Reno. 3 innings and a third, 1 run given up on 6 hits. He did allow a home run. Joe throwing a grand total of 53 pitches in that game. That's after he threw 39 pitches for Lake Elsinore last Tuesday. So by all reports, and you'll hear from Joe here in a second, went well in Reno for AAA. Here was Joe Musgrove talking about the rehab outing, how he's feeling, and more.
Physically, I feel great. It's probably the best I've bounced back. I think the last couple outings, it's been the last inning that's felt my best. I've always kind of typically been like that, even when I'm healthy. Like, further I get into the game, the better rhythm I get into, the more my arm starts to loosen up and be more consistent. So I felt similar in my last 2 outings. Like, every time I'm getting pulled, I'm kind of anxious and wanting a little more, which is a good sign. But yeah, I feel like I'm just starting to get into that rhythm and find that groove again by the time I'm getting pulled out of game. So hopefully as the pitch count increases, I can find that, that flow a little bit earlier in the game and get my pitch count up.
For Velo this time?
Good. I think I was sitting around 94. I think I hit a couple 5s and 6s. So, really consistent. I don't feel like a huge difference as the game goes with my stuff fading. Maybe just the fatigue of the up downs, having not experienced that in a little while. But by no means do I feel, beat down or, achy or painful in my last outing or my last innings of these outings. I feel like I'm getting stronger as the game's going and starting to find that rhythm. So all good signs.
Do you know what's next up for you?
I don't. It's going to be a rehab start. I don't know where. Don't exactly. I would assume 5 days from now, but it's always kind of reassess after we get through today and see how I feel. And I'm feeling great today. So see what's next for me.
Do you have an indication how built up they want to be pitch-wise before you join this team?
I've talked to AJ. Nothing's really set in stone, but I don't think he's looking for another 3 to 4 inning starter. I think he wants, a starter that can pitch postseason games and somebody that can give us some length down the last month or so of the season. So that's ultimately what I want. I want to get back in games. So if it was getting back sooner at 3 innings, I would take that. But I think having the assistance of Robbie and Casey, showing up at the deadline gives us a little bit more leeway to stretch those guys out a little bit more and give myself and Nick and, give us the time that we need to get built up to a normal starting depth. So I'm hoping, one more start, maybe back here at 75, 80 pitches. I think I threw around 55 yesterday. So significant jump. It's usually a 10 to 15 pitch jump every outing. So doing the math, it sounds like 2 more, but maybe 1 more if I'm super sharp.
How energizing is it to kind of be at this point and to get the positive results and to see it going well?
Yeah, dude. Just mentally, it feels so good. I've battled for a long time of being on the fringe of feeling like I'm almost ready and not quite there. Trying to go out and test it, and just the bounce back days have been really, really rough on me to where I know I wouldn't be able to go more than, 1 outing at a time. So the comfort I have, the excitement I have for throwing again, there was a long stretch of time where I didn't look forward to throwing because of the discomfort and pain, and I wasn't really making many improvements. So I feel like I'm finally at a spot where, I'm excited to go out and throw again. I'm asking for more. I wanted to jump things a little bit faster. So those are all good signs that, my confidence is getting better, and I just trust the arm a lot more. So I feel like I'm in a good spot.
This journey back for you personally, being, less than 10, 15 days from possibly taking the mound in the next homestand, the emotions that kind of trickle in for something like that.
Yeah, I've tried not to get too emotional about it. I've had plenty of emotion over the last 2 years, Now it's just, focusing on the things I need to do to get my body ready. I'm kind of out of the phase of, thinking about my arm and, doing all these things to manage the health, and more about, getting my body ready to go compete, get my mind ready to go, be in that game mode. So, the emotion part's kind of passed for me. I'm obviously very excited to get back. I've wanted to, pitching games for a long time now, and multiple times felt like I've been really close and just haven't gotten there. So this is the best I've felt in the last 2 years, and, things are looking up for me. So.
That was Joe Musgrove inside the Padres clubhouse earlier. So Joe continuing to give us good news. We'll see when and where that next rehab start is, but some very encouraging signs certainly for Joe Musgrove as he continues to work his way back from the arm issues. And it's going to be a big day when Joe does take the mound again in a Padre uniform, and certainly sounds like he's getting closer and closer, feeling good. That is great news from Joe Musgrove. By the way, Brewers are a team dealing with a lot of injuries right now, despite having the best record in baseball entering this series. Joey Ortiz, their third baseman, he is not on the IL right now, but he is dealing with neck tightness. He's day-to-day right now. Left-hander Jojo Romero, who they traded for at the deadline, he's on the IL right now after having an appendectomy. Cooper Pratt, their young shortstop, he went on the IL with a right hamstring strain. And the Brewers also without outfielder Sal Frelick right now. He's on the IL with a right shoulder strain. So this is not a perfectly healthy Brewer team, but a good Brewer team nonetheless. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Oh, we have a handful of games going on right now. A number of games coming up a little bit later. Blue Jays lead the Red Sox 2-0 in Toronto in the 7th inning. The Mets lead the Braves in the 6th inning in Atlanta. 7-5, Brett Beatty, Francisco Lindor home runs in that game. Beatty hit a grand slam for the Mets in that one. Twins beating the Orioles 2-1 in Minnesota in the 6th inning. Austin Martin home run in that game for Minnesota. Phillies ahead of the Cardinals 3-0 in the 5th inning in St. Louis. Cardinals do not yet have a hit in that game. Rangers and the Angels in Anaheim in the 1st inning. They are just underway and scoreless in Anaheim. We've got 4 games yet to begin aside from this one. Rockies and the D-backs in Arizona at 6:40. Gabriel Hughes against Michael Soroka, the pitching matchup there. Rays and the A's in Sacramento. Freddie Peralta, who the Rays traded for at the deadline, against Jacob Lopez, the pitching matchup there. Astros and the Giants in San Francisco at 6:45. Royals and the Dodgers in L.A. At 7:10. Left-hander Tarek Skubal making his second start in a Dodger uniform in that one. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Monday. We'll have much more on all those games coming up a little bit later during our post-game coverage. Well, tonight's starting left fielder, Luis Rengifo, he began the year with Milwaukee, hit .205 in 57 games, no home runs, 9 doubles, 19 RBIs, OPS only .534 in those 200-plus plate appearances. Ultimately, he was DFA'd by the Brewers. The Padres picked him up, and certainly Rengifo has been very good as a Padres so far, hitting .324, .851 OPS so far, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, in a grand total of 74 at-bats. Luis Rengifo spoke inside the Padres clubhouse a little bit earlier on this matchup with the Brew Crew.
We got a good team, and they have a good team too, so it's going to be a good fight, and just keep going. So keep going, and we see in the end of the year.
Luis, from your perspective, what is it that makes the Brewers so good these past couple of seasons from what you saw?
I don't know. They have a good group, so they know what they need, and they play the game the right way, and it's just they have a good group.
It's the magnitude of a series like this. Obviously, there's a playoff race, but then it's a team that may be a bit of a measuring stick, a team you could potentially see down the road.
For us, just keep playing every day, keep playing one day at a time, and when we're facing this thing like this, just have to play hard. You know what we have to do in the game, and just get a W after 27 outs.
Any secrets about that team that you'll be able to share with the Padres now?
For me, it's just talk with the guys and play ball. So
you're not going to steal all their signs.
I know it's part of the game. It's part of the game. We have to do what we have to do when we're playing and just play ball.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Key number 1 in tonight's series opener, Padres and Brewers going at it. Key number 1, don't let Chourio change the game. I'm talking about Jackson Chourio, Brewers left fielder, batting second. Chourio 6 for 21 with 4 home runs in his last 6 games. However, he has not had great success against the Padres so far in his young career, hitting just 158 against San Diego with only 1 home run, 2 RBIs in 16 career games against the Pods. So hopefully that trend continues here tonight. Key number 2, keep rolling with Arraez. The Padres batting .304 as a team with men in scoring position during the last 16 games. Padres 12-4 in their last 16 games. A big reason why they're so good with numbers with runners in scoring position. Well, Jackson Merrill, the way he's playing, Fernando, the way he's playing. We got into it during Who's Hot, Who's Not. We'll see if the Padres can continue to excel with runners in scoring position. Key number 3, a better Casey Mize. Mize making his second career start at Petco Park here today. Mize gave up a career worst 8 runs in his Padres debut Wednesday in Arizona. In 2024, in September, he gave up 3 runs in 5 1/3 innings here at Petco Park. He already faced the Brewers once this year. That was all the way back in April. Gave up 1 run in 6 innings in Detroit. And key number 4, beating Logan Henderson, a pitcher the Padres have never seen before. He returned from a 7-week stint on the IL about a month ago. He's been very, very good since returning. 4-0 with a 2.67 ERA across 5 starts. He struck out 32 of the 102 batters he's faced in that span, and he's only walked 4 during that span. He gave up 2 runs in 6 innings in a win against the Pirates last Tuesday. So that's a look at our keys to tonight's game as the Padres go for a series opening win against the Milwaukee Brewers. When we come back, we hear from tonight's starting pitcher, Casey Mize. Much more to do on our pregame coverage right here on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building as we get ready for first pitch coming your way at 6:40 p.m. Right-hander Casey Mize making the start for the Padres here tonight, his second start as a Padre. Remember, he did visit Petco Park with the Tigers in the first series of the season. Mize did not pitch in that series, but here was Casey Mize on returning to Petco Park, this time in a very different uniform.
Glad to be back here in a different uniform, in front of our fans here. It's, it's an awesome place to play, so I'm excited for it.
Can you walk us through the process, just kind of leading up? They held you out of your start on Friday. Like, what are you doing during that? How difficult is that for you to kind of be up in the air like that?
Yeah, it was weird. I'm super routine oriented. So I was informed the night before my start that I wasn't going to be making it. So kind of had to just wait through the weekend and see what happened. And then, I ended up getting moved right, a couple minutes left for the deadline. So had to get up and travel and get my start pushed back even more, so it was weird. I was on the mound, a few times trying to stay ready. And it was weird, so now I'm glad to settle into normal routine again.
When you heard it was San Diego, what was your reaction?
Super excited. I love what the Padres are about, which is winning every year. So it's really nice to be a part of that and, come and do my part and help in that pursuit of, winning the World Series. And I was pumped.
What's last week been like for you, getting to know all your new teammates and also really developing that rapport with your catchers?
Yeah, it's been different. I've been in one organization, for 8 years. So I know everybody in the building and everybody that would come in. So I'm doing my best to catch up as quick as I can around here, just to get comfortable with everybody. And, It's been great. Everybody's been super welcoming. So just going to continue to build those relationships and build that rapport with my teammates and my catchers, because obviously the catcher-pitcher relationship is super important. So going to keep leaning into those guys and, learning from them and, watching how they call the games and setups and things like that. And we'll keep learning from one another.
How do you take something that usually you have a whole spring training to do and truncate it down really quickly in a new organization with new people?
Yeah, you just got to simplify. It's, you got to have your own identity of, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. So you can be able to relay that to your teammates and they can relay what they do to me. And, that way we can just get to know each other real quickly of, so when we go out there and compete, we're all aligned, which is, it's difficult to do, but it's something, it's a tough job. A lot of what we do is difficult, so it'll be fun.
What's it like to be like, hey, put on a new uniform and now go out and pitch? Like, just for all of us, I've never experienced that. Like, what is that kind of like? Yeah, I mean, it's strange, but at the end of the day, it's the same game. But it's, I've worn one uniform my entire career, so for it to now be two it's like I said, it's different for me. But, when I go out there and compete, I'm just in compete mode. It is what it is. I don't care what uniform I'm wearing or, who's in the box. It's, I'm focused on what I can do. And that won't change.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
What to watch for in this series opener against the Brewers? Can the Padres avoid having to face the back-end arms in the Brewer bullpen in tonight's game and really throughout this series in situations where the Brewers have a lead? This is a very good back end of the bullpen. I'll give you two guys to really watch. Abner Uribe, he is unscored on in his last 21 outings. Trevor McGill, their closer, unscored on in 22 of his last 23 outings. So can the Padres take a lead, have their bullpen dominate tonight's game, not the other way around, or at least be in a position to play from ahead, have their bullpen not even dominate, but control the game? That's what to watch for in tonight's game and certainly in this series. As always, we appreciate you tuning in to our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. When we come back, we send things out to Jesse and Tony. They have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.